Residents in the Essex town of Epping have been locked in a heated dispute with the government over the future of a local hotel being used to house migrants. For weeks, demonstrations have taken place outside the site, reflecting deep concerns within the community. Now, a ruling from the Court of Appeal has reignited tensions, allowing the accommodation to remain open and sparking strong reactions from local leaders, parents, and national politicians alike. In this story, we look at the latest decision, the protests it has fueled, and what it means for the wider debate over migration and public safety. But first, hit the like button and subscribe for more news stories like this. Furious Epping residents have vowed to continue their protests after the Home Office won an appeal against the closure of their local migrant hotel. Almost 140 men have been staying at the hotel in the leafy Essex town, with locals expressing grievances following the arrest of 38-year-old Ethiopian asylum seeker Hadush Gebrselassie Kabatu over allegations of sexual assault. However, the Court of Appeal decided yesterday to overturn a recent decision to grant a temporary injunction, instead siding with the Home Office and hotel owners at Somani Hotels in a significant victory for Keir Starmer's government, who continue to champion the cause of uncontrolled illegal migration into our nation. The verdict has enraged the concerned parents and their supporters. Essex Police, anticipating trouble at the hotel, had as many as 4 marked vans parked on the forecourt from early in the afternoon, and 10 officers stood outside the controversial accommodation. Migrants had reportedly been advised to stay inside amid backlash following the ruling earlier today. Lawyers for Home Secretary Yvette Cooper had argued that shutting the hotel would set a dangerous precedent that would have encouraged similar litigation by other councils. But Tory leader Kemi Badenoch said, "Keir Starmer has shown that he puts the rights of illegal immigrants above the rights of British people who just want to feel safe in their towns and communities." Reform UK leader Nigel Farage echoed this sentiment, writing on X, "The government has used the ECHR against the people of Epping. Illegal migrants have more rights than the people of Essex." Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick also waded in on the row. A source close to Mr Jenrick said that the top Tory has convened a meeting to provide advice to any councils who want to launch legal action against asylum accommodation. Mr Jenrick added, "Yvette Cooper's decision to put 2 fingers up to the legitimate anger of the British public will surely inspire even more protests across the country. People are fed up with the government siding with illegal migrants over the British people." The ruling has enraged locals who have been demonstrating outside the hotel for weeks. Within minutes of the judge's decision to allow the Home Office appeal, meaning the migrants will remain in the hotel in the meantime, local Conservative councillor Shane Yerrell, 42, turned up at the scene. Mr Yerrell said, "This decision is disgusting. I've just been on the phone with the father of the girl whose sexual assault case involving one of the migrants has been in court this week. This decision is disgusting for them. They've been through so much. And it's not just the 2 sexual assaults. I've been told of 5 or 6 other incidents where children have been followed home from school by people from the hotel, asked for their Snapchats, and told, 'You're pretty.' Local mums and dads want the hotel closed, as the first judgment said." Mother and protest organiser Sarah White said, "We are outraged by the decision. This is unacceptable and raises serious questions about public safety and accountability. As residents, we feel abandoned. Our community will not stay silent." Epping Conservative councillor Ken Williamson has lamented the Court of Appeal's decision to overturn the temporary injunction on the Epping Migrant Hotel. Speaking to reporters, Mr Williamson was defiant in his belief the battle is not over. He vowed to continue the fight, as it is nothing less than the people of Epping would expect and deserve.
While the Court of Appeal has lifted the temporary injunction, the case for the final injunction is still to be heard. Our battle on behalf of our residents will continue. A few weeks from now, we will be back in court, where we trust the strength of our case will still prevail. Epping Forest has always given the Home Office much cause for reflection. We understand government faces a dilemma, but that should not be at the expense of local communities. Planning law may seem dull, it might seem boring, but it goes to the heart of the relationship between local communities and good government. It enshrines the rights of local people to have a say within their own communities, and it should not be set aside lightly. The government can still listen. It needs to understand and take responsibility for the events that have taken place in Epping over the past 6 weeks, for the trauma and disruption brought upon our community. The battle is not over, and we will continue the fight. It is nothing less than the people of Epping would expect and deserve.
Mr Farage's intervention in this debate comes just days after the Reform UK leader unveiled his Operation Restoring Justice strategy to curb channel crossings. Speaking in Oxfordshire, the Clacton MP said,
"The mood in the country around this issue is a mix between total despair and rising anger. And I would say this, that without action, without somehow the contract between the government and the people being renewed, without some trust coming back, then I fear deeply that anger will grow. In fact, I think there is now, as a result of this, a genuine threat to public order, and that is the very last thing that we want. And I've been saying, of course, for a long time that it's a growing threat to our national security. And we've seen just recently some arrests made of people that came by boat, and they are suspected of being involved in some form of terrorism. Huge numbers of undocumented young males who throw their passports and iPhone into the English Channel when they get to the 12-mile line, something that I've been out and filmed. These huge numbers of people do constitute a threat. And I suppose the growing anger in the country over the course of the last few weeks is a cultural one, in the sense that many of these young men come from countries in which women aren't even second-class citizens. And frankly, the public have now just had enough. And what began as a protest of mothers and concerned citizens outside the Bell Hotel in Epping has now spread right across the country. And all of it really poses one big fundamental question. Whose side are you on? Are you on the side of women and children being safe on our streets? Or are you on the side of outdated international treaties backed up by a series of dubious courts? But it is this gradual drift, ever since really I think the Human Rights Act was incorporated into UK law, it's this gradual drift to just accepting that anything goes. Well, we're not accepting it, and I tell you what, there's a big silent majority out there who are not accepting it either, and they are crying out. They are desperate to have some leadership that's got some courage. They're desperate for a political party that can put forward people who genuinely will put the needs of the British people first. That is what government is supposed to do.
Mr Farage is proposing the deportation of around 600,000 illegal migrants, Britain's withdrawal from the European Convention on Human Rights, and the signing of a returns deal with the Taliban. What we are witnessing in Epping is not an isolated incident, but part of a much wider national malaise. A community voices its fears, a court sides with bureaucracy, and the people are told to simply endure. The mothers and fathers of this quiet Essex town are painted as agitators when, in reality, they are only doing what any responsible parent would do, defending the safety of their children. The government, meanwhile, insists that closing a single hotel will set a dangerous precedent. But what does that really mean? That the concerns of ordinary citizens are so inconvenient that they must be ignored? Does Keir Starmer believe that the safety of young women and children is a secondary consideration compared to the diktats of international treaties and unelected judges? Epping has become a symbol of a deeper truth, that too often the British public is expected to carry the burden of policies they never voted for and were never consulted on. They are expected to remain quiet, even when their daughters are harassed or worse, while politicians in Westminster speak loftily about compassion. Compassion, it seems, is endlessly extended to those arriving illegally, but not to the people who already live here, who are treated with barely concealed contempt. And so the anger grows. It spreads from one town to the next, because communities up and down this country recognise the pattern. When they ask whose side their government is on, the answer becomes clearer every day. Thanks for watching, and if you like this content, please remember to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments section below.